Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Season Ticket Holders. I'm your host, Dane Lillingstone, and I have a favourite special returning guest back by popular demand today. He's a North Queensland Cowboys fan, cameraman extraordinaire, and once voted Cairns' most eligible bachelor, Kaden Warnick. Welcome back to the show, mate. How you going?
Hello. Thanks for having me back. I don't know who requested it, but shout out to them. Yeah, good to be here.
Last episode popped off, let me tell you right now, mate. It was very good. Now, Kaden, you've already spoken to our audience. What I did want to start with, mate, was you're over in London, for those who don't know. You've been doing your cameraman work there for most of this year, and the Ashes are back after a 22-year wait. Now, I know that you've done a little bit of coverage, so I want to hear a little bit about that. The Kangaroos have been there for about the last week. They're about to announce the teams. We are recording this before the teams are announced, but it will all unfold later in the week. There is some big selections, but the first thing I just wanted to ask you was, it is back after 22 years, so it's not something that this generation is familiar with. Even me being a rugby league fan, I don't remember the last Ashes back in 2003. What have you noticed, mate, in London? Is there a little bit of vibe? I know you're a rugby league fan, but have you noticed any hype? Can you see anything around the streets? What's it been like over there?
Yeah. I went to have a look at the to buy tickets for the Wembley Stadium because I do have three games around, but Wembley's probably the most closest one to London. And if you look at just the Australian section, the away side, it's just pretty much sold out. So I think that's a good sign. I was at the Vauxhall in the city to watch the Brisbane Broncos win, and it was bloody packed, like just absolutely full of just Aussies. Like there's a few Aussie fans here, and a few Aussies and a few NRL fans here. So I reckon it'll go well. I haven't seen too much of um, posters or advertisements around it all, but if you go out towards Wembley, I'm sure they'll start ramping it up. But yeah, all my roommates are going to it, so I'm sure it's going to be a great turnout.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, mate. I had a look just before. They reported a few days ago ticket sales have passed around 55,000. So that's a pretty incredible sight. If they do get that crowd, that's what they said, sales have been gone. What's Wembley Stadium? Must be, imagine
Yeah, it's
it's
a
like
big stadium, massive.
75 to 90,000, 86 to 87 for UEFA. So, I mean, if they get
Yeah,
60,000, I think for the
that's
Super
right.
League
Yeah.
they got about that recently for their final. Now, I did want to touch on that too. You did mention the mighty Brisbane Broncos. What was it like watching the grand
Yeah.
final over there, mate?
Oh, it was bloody awesome. It was just Broncos fans. There was a couple of Melbournes, but the majority of the place, which holds, over 700 people, I reckon, it was just great. The atmosphere was awesome. Obviously, a great game for me. I don't support either teams, so it was good just as a neutral perspective. But yeah, everyone was just up and about here. It was great.
You're not a Broncos fan, mate? You can be. I mean, Cowboys.
Nah, mate, Cowboys 2015. Just don't forget, best grand final ever.
You know what? I have forgotten. Mate, nah, just back on that crowd. I was just checking where the Super League Grand Final over there recently between Hull, they beat Wigan 24-6. They got 68,000. So I imagine at Wembley, it is London, obviously not traditional rugby league heartland. It's all big in the north of England over there. They'd be hoping to get that. So if they get about 60,000, that'd be pretty incredible. Now, the teams, we're going to find out very shortly, but it's going to be interesting, mate, because Reece Walsh, we just talked about the grand final, one of the all-time grand final performances. New
Yeah.
fullback for the Kangaroos. How exciting is that going to be, and how the hell is England going to stop him?
Oh, they're not. They're not going to stop him. Like full stop. Even just like how pumped he is to be back under Kevy. Like I think his form will just carry instantly. So yeah, even just having Shibasaki there as well, just to sort of run off of him. It's just going to be, yeah. You're not going to stop him. He's just insane. He's a freak.
Mate, I'll tell you right now, the on Sportsbet, the Ashes series odds, they have Australia at $1.21. They have England at $4, which I think is being pretty generous to England, because just looking at these teams on paper, the tie's $51. But do you think, would you be going anywhere near England series win best of three for $4?
Series win $4. I think that's pretty harsh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like you said on paper, they got what Dom Young, Herbie Farnworth. Herbie, is going to cause issues for Australia for sure. He's going to be eager to get back into it after that. What he do, his hammy or something. So, yeah, I don't know. $4 though. I don't know if I like it.
$10, mate. I reckon it's $10. If
Yeah,
you want me to
okay.
touch England, I did want to touch on the guy you just said because Herbie Farnworth. We all know what he could do. Had a little bit of injury this year, but for the last couple of seasons, he has been just about the gold standard for centers in the NRL. We know what he did with the Broncos back in the day. We know what he's been able to do for Dolphins. He's been one of their best since he signed with them. I was looking at these teams, and the reason I say they should be $10 is because you really look at these teams on paper. Herbie
Yeah.
Farnworth is the only guy who would make the Kangaroos team.
Oh,
He's the only one.
absolutely.
It
Yeah.
would be Herbie Farnworth, and I imagine probably Katoni Staggs, if they're all fully fit in this team. You look at the rest of the team. I mean, they've got some NRL players to round it out. They've got John Bateman. They've got AJ
Yeah.
Brimson, who's made the switch, so that could be interesting for them. Going down, Kai Pearce-Paul, who's been doing a job for the Knights. Morgan Smithies,
Oh,
who was
of course.
important for the Raiders in their run. And like you mentioned, Dom Young, pretty disrupted season, but we've seen what he's been able to do. And then obviously Super League players. Would you agree with that, mate? You're looking at the names. I mean, Herbie Farmer's the only one that's even coming close
Yeah.
to a Kangaroos team.
Yeah, I mean AJ potentially, when he's in form, like he's played Origin. When he's in form, he could be a good 14. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But no, this is the Aussie team is just ridiculously stacked. So it's going to be hard. The only way they're going to lose that the Kangaroos is just to be completely complacent and just think it's going to be a walk in the park, and then the Wembley fans will get behind them. The English side. So we'll see what happens.
I was going to
Should be a
say
good
they're going to
game, I reckon.
get over there, get on the piss, hit the English pubs, and maybe that's the best
Oh
chance
yeah.
England have.
Oh yeah. The Wembley is like, I don't know, it's just got that like Caxton Street sort of. It's just got that outside the stadium, it's just got a whole street of it. So, they'll be firing watching the game. I don't think you can drink during the game, but I'm sure people will be going in there amped, ready to go.
Well,
So yeah, it'll be good.
you can't drink in there.
Well, I only say that because of the Premier League and all the football leagues here. You can't drink during the game, so I'm not sure if that rule carries over to other sporting codes, but we'll see.
I didn't
If
know
it's
that.
just like a English thing, but yeah, we'll see.
Uh,
I'm not sure if
okay,
that
no, no, I
carries
didn't.
over to different sports, but yeah, definitely during the football here, you can't drink during the games.
I didn't know that, man. Okay, interesting. But
Yeah,
like you said, there'll be plenty of pubs. You would get pretty liquored up before you go, I imagine.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
Mate, I'll take you through the Kangaroos team. Like I said, we are recording this before the teams officially come out, but I did want to just take it through the teams, which I think is pretty. The main thing I want to touch on is the spine. Like I said before, Reece Walsh, and I suppose the biggest question mark heading into this team was the halves. I think there's no surprise about that. Cam Munster and Nathan Cleary. Do you think they're the halves? I'm pretty sure that's pretty much a lock. I mean, you've obviously got Tom Dearden floating in that team alongside Mitch Moses. Some would say that the defeated grand final number 6 and the New South Wales Origin losing number 7 might not be the best pick, but I mean, I'm
yeah.
pretty happy with Munster and Cleary in the halves.
Oh, that's such a sick pairing. Like, I really like it. I reckon they're just gonna completely click. And I don't know if you saw that video of Kevy talking to him, saying even though he's not at the Broncos anymore, still saying we got one back on you. I thought that was pretty sick. So I reckon Clear will be trying to prove a point and really have some fun out there, I reckon.
I did love
But
that video,
Munster
and the
for sure.
Kangaroos.
Yeah.
I did love that video. Kangaroo social media have been really good doing their socials at the moment, and they did post that video with Kevy and Nathan coming together. And obviously, there'd be some mental scarring from that 2023 grand final, like
For
there is for all
sure, for
Broncos
sure.
fans. But it was good to see them come together, and Kevy's such a good dude. I imagine they're going to hit it off as well. And yeah, man, I don't think there's any question that that's not the starting halves. They may have had indifferent seasons. I mean, obviously Melbourne still makes the grand final. Penrith,
Yeah.
a Broncos team away from making their 6th grand final. I don't think there's any doubt, even if he lost an Origin series and Munster lost a grand final, that they shouldn't be the ones. And then having Tommy Dearden, the luxury of having a guy like Tommy Dearden to be your 14 off the bench. I would say that's pretty much spot on. Like, that's a pretty close to a full strength Australian team. Reece Walsh won that number 1 jersey based on the back season form that he had, putting that Broncos team on his back. Dylan Edwards was in there as well, but I think there's no doubt who finished on top. And then
Oh,
Harry
no
Grant
doubt.
as Harry Grant as hooker. I mean, you've obviously had Brayley, who had a really amazing season as well, but on his day, there's no doubt that Harry Grant's the starting number 9.
Yeah, just the experience alone, that was insane season for Brayley. But yeah, just thinking about it, Reece Walsh and Cleary, Munster, Harry Grant. That's just insane to think about that they're all playing together. And I feel like they're all sort of playing well, like they're all in form. Like Dearden obviously is, as a Cowboys fan, I think he's incredible. Like probably the future. Munster, he's getting a little bit older. So in a few years, I'm sure it'll just be such an easy transition over. But right now, I feel like you just have to play him for sure. And Mitch Moses, come Origin time, there's always that discussion, Cleary versus Moses, and Moses does definitely do a job as well. But I just feel like, yeah, that Cleary the back end of the season, he was insane as well. You can't forget that, even though he didn't make the grand final, just coming from that eighth position or whatever, bottom eight. So yeah, the team's stacked. It's ridiculous.
Mate, I think based on the Origin performances, I can see there's an argument where you put Mitch Moses in the team, in the starting team, because I think he has outshone Cleary at Origin New South Wales level. But like we all know, on their day, and we no disrespect for England, but we're talking about England. Like Nathan Cleary is gonna carve them up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's going to be a
He's gonna
different.
do
Yeah,
Yeah, he's going to do his job. The English game's a lot different. You watch the Super League, it's a lot more open than traditional NRL and how we do it in Australia. It's a lot more attacking game. Defense isn't the highest priority, or they're just not leveled in sort of the wrestling that the Australian teams are, and I think it's going to be very dangerous. Now, the one man I do want to talk about, and we've spoken about it in this podcast plenty this season and with fair call, is the starting centres to be Katoni Staggs and Gemmet Shibasaki. That's what it's looking like. Katoni Staggs, incredible season. I'm so happy to see what he's been able to do. He's been the Broncos' heart and soul for the last 4 or 5 years through their wooden spoon season. He's never stopped trying, and he's had an incredible career best season for Katoni Staggs. But Gemmet Shibasaki, I mean, mate, train and trial last year. If you said last year that he would play an Origin and a Kangaroos jersey, they'd think you're absolutely crazy on drugs, mate, on the crack. But he has just earned his way through. He said he was too fit in the. We've all heard the story now. He was too unfit in the preseason for the Broncos. Gets told to go away, work on it. He wins his spot round 1 for the Broncos. Makes his way into the Origin team. Scores a couple in the grand final. Broncos winning in a state of origin winning Queensland team, and now he's going to get to go to an Ashes in England. Have you ever seen a season like this to go from one side to the complete extreme other before?
no, not at all. It was so late in the career as well. What is he? 27?
I
Was he
think so. Yeah, he's
27?
about
Yeah,
that. Journeyman.
yeah,
He'd had stints. He was in Japanese rugby. He'd been all around. 27.
yeah.
Yeah, 27.
Yeah, what a season! Like you can thank Madge for the hectic preseason training you put them through, and then you can thank the genius of Billy Slater for picking him in Origin. But the stats, he's just been so consistent. Like with defense, just scoring tries for fun. Definitely deserves it. And Katoni Staggs is just Katoni Staggs. I feel like he's just so safe. Like he just will do a job every single time. So, but Shibasaki, like, just totally deserves it. Insane season. As a
In,
Queensland,
in,
obviously, very happy about it.
and future Broncos fan.
Yeah.
Mate, yeah, just absolutely incredible season. Now the other wingers, Josh Adokar, he's been able to do a job in the past. Zach Lomax pulled out of this side. Mark Nwanganitawase. I got there in the third time. Mark
Yeah, I know it's
Nwanganitawase.
tough.
Now he's obviously going to go back to rugby eventually, but he'll become a dual international, so he'll join a pretty elite team, elite, few people who have been able to achieve that before, but I don't think I have any problem. He finished the season in incredible form. He finished with, I think it was the most tries for the season in the end. But what do you think of those wingers?
Yeah, no, Mas Nwanga Nitawase, yeah,
Very nice.
insane, yeah, first try. But I did see him rock up to the airport with the, Wallaby suitcase, which is pretty funny. He brought the
I
wrong
did see that.
suitcase.
Didn't Reece Walsh post it on his socials? Who's this?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure if that was, on purpose or not, but it's good advertising for them. But yeah, he should definitely be in there for sure. He was insane, just every aspect, just the breaking tackles and aerial obviously is just a freak and just crazy, behind the back flick passes on the try line, just insane. And Edo Carr, yeah. I mean, he had a good back half of the season. But yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that one. But he's just one of those players that are just probably so good to have around the boys, I reckon. So that's always it's always helpful to have just someone just who's been there, done that, and we're just good mindset for players for sure.
No, no, I agree. And mate, Mark Mwang'anitawase, 24 tries in the end. So he did finish number one in the NRL. So pretty incredible performance in the end. He scored a bunch towards the back end of the season. I think there's no doubt he'd be there. And the forward, mate, they've pretty much picked themselves. Even with the defection of Payne Haas to Samoa, you've still got Tina Fasuma, Aoi, Paddy Carrigan, Hudson Young, Angus Crichton, Isaiah Yeo, Keon Kaloma, Tungy, Lindsay Collins, and Ruben Cotter. I mean, that forward pack, even all the defections we've had over the years. And like I said, Payne Haas is the main one from this season. He would be there, decided
Yeah.
to represent Samoa. I mean, how good? How is England going to stop a forward pack like that? I mean, England do
Nah,
have
they won't.
some NRL experience, but how are they going to stop it, mate?
They're not. I mean, it's insane. It's good to see Ruben Cotter in there. That's good to see. But yeah, Tino, yeah, just all of that's ridiculous. Tino, Paddy Carrigan is just, yeah, they're not going to stop them. That's just way too much. Like they're 80-minute forward packs almost. So they'll just go at them all game. They'll just be relentless. And then just to bring on just someone just as good, like straight is just, yeah, it's unfair. It'll be great. It'll be a tough one for England for sure.
Mate, they're in big trouble, I reckon. Really, really big trouble. Now, as far as England goes, mate, we did mention their players before. The main guy I probably want to talk about, and I think the big difference if they're going to be competitive is George Williams. Used to play for the Raiders back in the day, the halfback. Really good player. I was surprised when he left. I think there were some issues with Ricky Stewart. And I believe he has signed a deal with the Dolphins from 2027. So that was with Warrington he's been playing with. He's a stud, mate. Have you watched much of Georgie Williams play? It was a few years ago
I
now that he was in
remember,
the NRL.
yeah, I remember him back at the Raiders. He was solid. Yeah, he did a job for sure. Yeah, I wasn't really sure why he left, but he could have easily have stayed, and kept that position. You know, obviously Ricky, there's might have been something there, but if there was no issues, like there's no doubt he would still be playing as a starting half for sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
but
if, like I
I
said,
haven't
if
seen him over in the UK. I haven't seen it. How he's going over here. I'm sure he's doing well.
still killing it, mate. I'm pretty sure he's just one of those guys. Like he's got a great kicking game, great short kicking game. Just got a rugby league head on him. Great footy mind, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like he's going to be the big difference maker. Starting half for England, and like I said, if they're going to get up there, but they do have some forwards, like we mentioned, that can go with them. But I reckon a lot's going to rest on him in that spine, trying to get it done. It's going to be very interesting to see too where AJ Brimson, you mentioned before, obviously Origin player, defected to England. I think Victor Radley originally would have been in this team too, but he obviously had some too many golf trips, mate. A little bit too much fun. You know what
Yeah,
it's like. Don't hang
can't
out
do
with
that.
Brandon Smith. That's always
That's
going to be a
a
good time when you're held out with.
that's a massive suspension, bro. Like, that is no 10 weeks or whatever, and hundreds of $1,000s. That's they're cracking down on it for sure. But yeah, you shouldn't be doing that anyway.
Yeah, well, not unlucky. Let's say unlucky, mate. Those text. Don't
That's,
text Brandon. Don't
when
text
will they
Brandon. I think
learn?
his phone's always tapped.
Yeah, it must be. I need to learn better.
But it would have been good to see him play as well. But other than that, mate, I'm not going to lie. I don't watch a ton of Super League. I do see the highlights. They do have a very Super League heavy team. I think the biggest blow for them was that, well, not a blow, but the biggest shock for them is that they didn't select their Man of Steel player, which would be like, the Australia Kangaroos not selecting their Dally M player. That was Jake Connor. So yeah, that was probably the biggest interesting call. But like I said, I haven't watched enough Super League personally to know why he wouldn't be in that team. And they do have
Yeah.
a few halves, and he can play a bit anywhere, but a bit of a shock call for them. Other than that, hope and a prayer. How do you think England can get the job done? Obviously, it is a three-match series. I'd be interested to see whether Kevy does rotate, or if he does just stick with it, because it is a test series. They're going to take it pretty seriously. I mean, obviously, if they win the first two, he has the luxury. I'm sure he will rotate through the squad. If there's two close games, it'd be interesting to see what he does. How would you approach it, mate, over this three-test series if you were Kevy
Uh,
Walters?
If I was Kevy, I would just say, just play to your strengths. Don't try too hard. I think if you
Don't try too
give,
hard.
don't try and try and be too clever, too tricky. Just play to your strengths, and yeah, just I think the points will just come either just from the natural skill of just passing to the wing, those quick passes, or just the forward pack just tiring out pretty much the whole team. Like I just think, yeah, I'll just be telling Kevy, just go out there and have fun. Really, I just back yourselves, and yeah, I reckon the job will get done. But for England, I'd just say give the ball to bloody Herbie and just just let him run at the line. But then again, that defensive line is just going to be waiting for him. So good luck. Yeah. But Kevy,
Yeah,
yeah, he's got it. I feel like he has to win this though. Like there's a little bit of pressure.
yeah, surely there's I feel like Kevy would do. Surely there's a few beers at the pub, right? I know they say with the Origin camps these days, they really. I know being from the New South Wales camp, this series, there's only one or two players who even get on the beers. You think Kevy that they're over there for a few weeks? They got there a week early. Sure, they've gone to the
Yeah.
pub, had some beers, had a
Oh,
bonding session. It's like a once in a lifetime potentially for these guys. Rugby league hasn't had these tours for so long. Like obviously we have the World Cups, which are few and far between. Overseas, they delayed the last one, but surely he's getting there, getting on the pub, mate, having a few beers. You
absolutely.
reckon?
Absolutely. Where the
Yeah,
hotel is just the main strip is just great. And the pub culture here, it's just, yeah, real fun. Real fun. I've
yeah,
learnt from experience. But
yeah. I was
yeah,
gonna
I
say
think they're
you
gonna
know
have a
all about
great
that,
time.
mate.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have a great time. It is a bit miserable weather at the moment. I haven't seen the sun in a few weeks, to be honest, and it's starting to get dark early, and it's been just that annoying rain, spitting rain. So that might put a damper on things, but I still think they'll be having fun for sure. It's London, there's pub culture. You got to experience it. Do it.
You heard it here first from Kaden Warnick. It's London, mate. Get on the beers, um, mate. So heading into the Ashes series, I already went through the odds before. I think it's going to be a big, tough ask for England. But the first game, like you said, at Wembley, and I believe the other two are sold out. They return a week later at Liverpool, the Hill Dickinson Stadium, and then the week after that, the third and final test at Headingley at Leeds. So it's going to be very interesting, mate. It's pretty tough timings for Australian fans. They're all going to be on at like Sunday morning between like 1 and 4, depending on where you live. So it is going to be tough to watch. But I mean, if you're a real rugby league fan and you're out in the town on Saturday night, you can always stay up. Who knows?
Oh,
And
yeah.
the other thing, I know what you'd do.
Well,
The only
it's
other,
tough here. Watching the bloody like Samoa versus New Zealand, it was on at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. So yeah, that sucks.
how'd
So
you
it'd
go
be
with that
nice to have
one?
one in our time. I've got up to watch a bit of it, but I fell asleep. It's too early. So yeah, I only watched about 20 minutes.
Well, on that game, mate, that is obviously International Rugby League has started with the Pacific Championships, Kiwis, New Zealand, Samoa, and Tonga, and the game was at the Warriors' home ground in Auckland. They got about 21,000 people. You were talking to me about it before, mostly Samoan fans, which we've come to
Oh,
expect.
100%.
Um, yeah, they love Samoan and Tongan fans. Really get out there in droves, mate. Pretty good game of footy too. Like this is
Mm.
exciting that these teams are so evenly matched now. It all came down to Samoa leveled it with 10 minutes to go. Murray Taulagi 18 all, big sideline conversion from Blaze Taulagi. And then Dylan Brown gets a cross-field kick. Did he get it down? That was a little controversy. I saw watching it, watching the replay. I think he might have just got there, but a little bit controversial. But New Zealand gets the win 24-18. I'm excited to see how Tonga goes, but Samoa was supposed to be the big guns. I mean, you got Brian Do'o, Jerome Luai, Payne Haas, but New Zealand, even though they've had all defections themselves, they're still a pretty good team on paper. I think people sort of write off New Zealand sometimes a bit, mate. Don't you think? Like they've still got a pretty good team, even with players committing to the smaller island nations.
Yeah. No, their team is still stacked. Yeah, they've still got a bunch of gun players all around the park, and their style of play is just so good to watch. Those quick passes and that, but yeah, like you said, it's so good to see all the countries now sort of getting great squads and it always being sort of competitive. Like that game yesterday, I feel like if it was 10 years ago, it'd be like 60-10 or something like that. But now it's really competitive and it's, yeah. Yeah, and you got Payne Haas there as well, so like that's a huge pickup.
The beast. And shout out to Chance Nickel Klogstad, one of the worst attempted 40-20 saves you'll ever see in your life. Goes to save it, allegedly gets stuck in the fence, the barrier, and then Samoan player just
Just
runs
sat
through and
down.
scores the ball. You don't normally see this in rugby league. The ball was literally dead. It sat up in the goal line, literally dead, and for the easiest try you'll ever see in your life. So I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty funny,
that was
mate.
funny.
And Payne Haas credited on NRL.com with 194 meters. So he's still not tired from those grand final celebrations. I know he doesn't really drink, so maybe that helped him a bit, but still almost 200 meters for big Payne Haas. So it's still a massive effort from him, and 52 tackles. And mate, he's down here for 0 misses. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's absolutely incredible. 194 meters, 52 tackles, and no misses in the front row. That's pretty much a flawless game. That
yeah,
really is incredible by Payne Haas. I love watching him
yeah.
play.
And
I really don't.
he was fired up
You go
too.
for it.
Like he'd make some tackles on the line. They dropped the ball. He's up and about. Like that's so good to see. Even after that grand final win, he's just loves the game. He's just unstoppable. Yeah, that's an
Right.
insane stats too. That is crazy.
Mate, incredible. 50 tackles, no misses, almost 200 meters, backing up a few weeks after a grand final performance. But he didn't even have his best game in that one either. Maybe he had to
Yeah.
come out and do a little point to prove if Payne Haas ever has a point to prove. Let's hope. I did want to touch on this too. Let's hope beyond hope. R360, the rugby rebel breakaway competition. NRL's recently said they're going to hand out 10-year bans. But I mean, if you're
Oh,
some cashed up Saudi or wherever the money's coming from, surely you want to go in there and throw millions of dollars at Payne Haas, because he should be just about one of your marquee players. Now, I'm not a big rugby union guy, but when you've got a guy who can do what Payne Haas can do, he could, if he stayed in rugby league, he goes down as he's on the pathway, and I don't see any reason why not. He becomes the greatest forward of all time in rugby league, the game of the sport
absolutely.
from 1908, the best we've ever seen. The fact that he can do what he do, the motive that he has, we've never seen a forward in the game like it. And if he is lost to rugby union, I mean, look, he deserves the money. He really does. And I know he's got a very sad, tragic story with his brother Chase and his mother and father being in prison. He's gone through a shitload, man. And he's really got to take care of his young family. He's about to become a parent figure for his brothers and sisters. That's one thing that could keep him in rugby league. But on the flip side, you could see why he would want to go and take like a $3-4 million payday so that he can set up his family for life. And you couldn't begrudge him for that. But geez, man, how heartbreaking will it be if we lose Payne Haas?
Well, yeah, 10-year ban. So, like, if he makes a decision, he's not. If he's coming back, he's going to be not the same Payne Haas he is today. And yeah, he's just like they just don't exist. People like him to be that fast, that agile. Like, just I've seen him just break Cowboys line and run around the fullback too many times. Like, it's just cheat code. You shouldn't be that big, that fast, and still he's so bloody young. Like, you forget how young he is. It's just insane, yeah. But to lose him, which, you bet that they would throw the house at him because, that's a massive, massive player, Marquee. They'll sell jerseys or get people to the games. So, yeah, you just don't want to see it for our sake, but you can sort of understand just for the money reason. So, yeah, hopefully not.
100%, 100%, man. I mean, and we heard names like Ryan Pappenhausen, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Those are the guys that are rumored to be going, even like a Jai Gray. Those are some of the names that have been thrown up. But they could take all those guys and, there's plenty of talent in rugby league that can come up and replace it, but there's no one that can come up and replace Payne Haas. He's once in a
Yeah,
lifetime, once in a generation, once in history if he goes down as the greatest of all time. So, geez, man, I'd be absolutely heartbroken as a Bronco fan, but taking away my Broncos cap as a rugby league fan to see him go, absolutely devastating for the code, for the game, for the sport. There's also rumors that the Broncos potentially have an extension lined up and he's ready to sign, but he would be silly, and his manager, of course, I'm sure they're working in the background not to explore this. So wait and see, mate, because it could be pretty explosive with what these guys want to get off the ground by the end of next year. I think they want to start this competition in like October, just after
that's
the
so
NRL
soon.
season finishes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
just
rugby
with
union has
Perth
the
happening
luxury.
as well.
Mate, PNG said they want to try and start
Yeah.
signing players pretty soon. But rugby union has the luxury of saying that if they do sign, and they won't let them play in a World Cup. And for rugby union players, that is the absolute pinnacle. So that's a good
Mm.
carrot to get them not to do it. Whereas rugby league doesn't have that same sort of pull. If they said you can't play in a rugby league World Cup, they wouldn't care. Maybe Origin is a little bit different,
Origin.
but it's not going to
Yeah.
it's not going to keep players in the game like a rugby World Cup can. Nothing can keep in the sport of rugby. Rugby World Cup is the absolute pinnacle. There's no doubt about that. So it's going to be very interesting to see and watch that one, mate. And just the other game I did want to touch on before we go, the Cook Islands started off theirs against the PNG Orchids. Sorry, that's a women's team. The Cook Islands and PNG. I was looking at the wrong one there. Geez.
Yeah.
They're Fiji, Bardi, Cook Island are two. Jerome Buller, he was the headline out of that, mate. He scored 4 tries in the first
wow.
half, including a hat trick. First 3 tries within about 12 or 13 minutes. So pretty dominant. Cook Islands do have a little bit of talent as well, but Fiji were pretty good, even though they're missing the likes of Liam Kikau and Api Coruscant. They're 2 players who didn't end up playing for Fiji. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes for them. That's sort of like the lower tier as well, and how they're all going to go. So, mate, big weekend, big few weeks of rugby league. International rugby league is back. Bring on the Ashes, mate. You're not going to be there, sadly. It's a shame.
No. But it's good to have footy back again, though. I bet these weeks without, watching NRL, no Super Coach, it's good to have something back, So, and especially to watch Aussies, like it'll be sick to see just those insane players all playing together, So it'll be good.
Bring it on, mate. Bring it on. I can't wait.
Yeah.
International Rugby League is back. Kaden Warnick. Can't even get your name right now, mate. Thank you for joining us again on Season Ticket Holders, mate. Back by popular demand. Ladies, he's single. Thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you, mate. It's good to be back. Hopefully I'll try again for the trifecta. See if I get any more ones
Bring
after
it on.
this.
Bring it on, mate. I can't wait. Everyone, thank you very much for listening to another edition of Season Ticket Holders. Thanks for your support. We'll have some regular content now that I am back from holidays and recovered from Colombia and Mexico. It did take me a little while, let tell you. But I am back now, so we'll get back into UFC, NRL, International Rugby League content, maybe some cricket closer to the time the summer is here. It's coming up quickly with India and the Ashes. So please give us a like and a follow. Thanks for listening. Take care. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.